Apologies in advance for the very weird upload schedule. I mean, this is going up at like 7 p.m., but we are currently planning a wedding, so things are getting a little hectic. Now, it's not for me because I'm already happily married to my husband, Morgan, but it does mean that over the next couple of days, things might be a little bit wonky over here on the ZTL channel, but I am still going to be doing my best to show off some of these anniversary buffs that we're getting. And the next one is Bradamante. I think this is one that actually might get overlooked a little bit just because there's that preconception that Bradamante is not super great, but this buff does a lot for her. Now, again, like the Saber Altar one, I actually have enough coins to get her a pen skill. I was doing a lot of bond farming, only to find out that I don't have enough dust to get her a pen 2 over here fully leveled up, which you do need. You'll notice that for a lot of these characters, they have insanely strong buffs that make them a lot better, but they also pair very nicely with Black Grail and things if you do want to invest in their append skills, which I do think is kind of nice. It actually gives you a reason to go into your characters and, level up their append skills and stuff. It actually gives them some really nice synergies. So again, like the last video, I will be using a command spell to kind of show off what you are supposed to be able to do with them. But you'll see why it's kind of a big deal as we get into this. But yeah, for Bradamante, I do think this is one of those characters that literally had a 0 to hero type buff. Because prior to this, I really don't think Bradamante was very usable at all. And then now, she's shifting from that to now being able to do Black Grail looping, which you do need to have the original Caster Scotty for. This is why when people will ask, do I need OG Caster Scotty still if I already have Ruler Scotty? The question is always, yes, you do need to have the OG Caster Scotty because that additional quick buff is really nice if you're trying to get the extra refund that you need to do some stuff like Black Rail looping so you can refund the proper amount. Now, for Bradamante herself, all you really want to do is you just go ahead, you fire off her skills, right? Get herself the quick buff, and then you get her the new buff that she just got, which gives her a nice little battery, an Earth Power mod, which could be relevant for some fights. I think these guys are Earth attribute, coincidentally enough, but then it gives her a strong 30% NP gain buff. Now, the reason you do need her append skill to be done is that this is a 30% battery, and then you start off with the 20% from the append skill. That gets her to 50%, which plays very nicely with the OG Scotty over here. But as you can see, because I don't have the append skill done, I would have to waste another Scotty's battery. And we're actually going to need both this one's and the OG Caster Scotty, because she's going to refund anywhere in the ballpark of like 55 to 60%, kind of depending on the enemies. I've done a little bit of testing with her today, just so I could kind of make sure that I was properly, ready to explain this as we're going through the video. But you are going to need that append skill. But regardless, you should have that there. I will just go ahead and use a command spell to signify that I am missing out on 6 levels on that append skill, and then you will plug suit out your Scotty over here, and you go ahead and get your OG Caster Scotty in. Go ahead and pop on that quick buff, and then do not forget to use the other Ruler Scotty's skills, because otherwise you're not going to be refunding very much. But this is really strong for Bradamante. This is going to allow her to just put out heaps of damage for a character that wasn't really doing damage. Now, okay, like I say heaps of damage, but, let's also calm down a little bit, right? It is an NP1 Bradamante. We're not going to be dry. We're not doing Saber Altar shenanigans where it's like 2.4 million as an NP1 character, but I mean, that's not bad. There's more, damage than she was doing. I mean, she gets to use Black Grail now. And you can see, yeah, we're farming against Assassins, which give you very, very low refund. It's like Assassins and Berserkers are the hardest ones to actually farm against. There was like one node I was doing that was, it was mostly Berserkers and Casters, and against like a double Zerk and one Caster node, she got like 55% back, but she's going to be in the ballpark where she's able to get above 50%, which is just good enough for her to be able to utilize Black Grail. Like, you'll see that she is looping just enough for the Scotties to use their batteries on her and get her to 100%, and then she could fire off her NP again, beep, bop, boop, blow these guys up, and then, I mean, yeah, you're big chilling from there. So it's a huge buff for Bradamante, because again, this was a character that was not super usable before. I mean, I remember summoning for her during her own event, that Christmas event that we got in like year 2 or something, and the 90+ node, I want to say it was, featured archers, and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to use the new gacha servant, and I'm going to use her in this node, and she was refunding like 30% of her NP back. Like, it was not pretty. Mind you, I had a Max Limit Broken Kaleidoscope at the time, so I was doing all the looping stuff that you would want your quick characters to have, having, the Scotty, having the additional plug suit in to bring in another support, whether that be NP gain, extra 50%, an extra damage from waiver, starting them off so they basically get a free node, with the maximum broken kaleidoscope, and she just was not able to get it done. So it does make me pretty happy to see that this character has gone from pretty much being unusable to now being quite strong. Now, for anybody asking, you might be saying, well, are we ever going to use this Bradamante second skill? It doesn't do anything for farming. I mean, it's a solid skill. It's a guts and it's defense, right? That's like solid. That's nice. But in regards to farming, it doesn't actually do anything. So, yeah, we'll just go ahead and pop our Charisma there. We'll get some pretty nice damage on this. I'm actually kind of happy that the final enemy on this node is just a lone archer, so I can kind of get a good gauge for how much damage he's going to be doing here. I believe these Centaur guys are Earth Attribute. I mean, that damage is quite high. I think for it to not be Earth Attribute, yeah, like almost 500k. I mean, if you don't have somebody that's able to do the looping for you, this character's not bad. Now, okay, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that this is like, you gotta summon for Bradamante now. Like, Bradamante's gonna destroy the... No, none of that stuff, right? It's not like it's that crazy. Keep in mind, her Earth Attribute buff is only like 30%, something along those lines. It's not super high. I am checking in the background. The Centaur guys are Earth Attributes, so that was with her Power Mon damage as well. But it is... I mean, it's respectable. It's not bad. Dude, I need these seeds, man. So sorry for breaking the guide for a little bit there, but I'm like, dude, seeds, please give me more seeds. But it does make her usable, which I like to see, right? I don't need every servant to get the most nut-bustingly broken buff of all time. I would just ask that, hey, I can use some of these characters, because, I mean, it's not a hot take to say that Bradamante is a cute character. I would like to be able to utilize her and not feel bad. And so the fact that they gave her a buff that does not only make her usable, but, I mean, compliant with Black Grail, that's pretty strong. Like, that's pretty good. I mean, it's the same thing for Saber Alter. Saber Alter gets a buff that takes her from not being able to do any looping to being one of the better Buster Loopers in the game, which, again, I think for Saber Alter, probably a little bit more warranted. This is kind of like your big bad for the original, Fate trilogy, if you want to call Fate Stay Night that. I mean, well, I guess you could debate if that's like Sakura or that's actually, Gilgamesh and somewhere else, Saber Alter, but Saber Alter's up there, right? Like, she's up there as a Mondo threat in the OG Fate Stay Night. So I think she has a little bit more warrant going for her, probably should be pretty good, especially, imagine you're watching the Heavens Fields movies, you come in here and you're like, can I use Saber Alter? And they're like, no, she sucks. It's like, oh, well, that doesn't feel very good. It's kind of why I think Gilgamesh will always be really good in this game. Artoria will always be good in this game. They'll always give them buffs to make sure they're relevant, because it's going to be super weird, right? You come back watching, Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero, Babylonia, and you're like, hey, this Gilgamesh guy says he's the strongest heroic spirit of all time. He says he's the king of heroes, and you're like, actually, he's kind of doo-doo water. So making sure that those like popular characters, I think, remain good just seems smart. Even just from like a marketability thing, you could be like, yeah, this guy's actually really good. He'll be busting nuts over here in the game. But Bradamante, for a character that has a net just like story worth of nothing, like I can't even remember if Bradamante was in Tron, right? That centers around Charlemagne, and it has Roland, and I remember like Astolfo being there, but I barely remember the dialogue that Bradamante has with Pope Joanna, right? Like, she really has like very little story relevancy, but she is a character that, I mean, she's cute. People are going to want to use this character, and especially because you can get randomly spooked by her on any banner. She's not story locked. She's not limited in any way. So this is a character that you just might have in your box that is now pretty decent. They're like pretty rock solid. Again, not going to say they're the most broken character of all time or anything. We're not going to be hyperbolic out here, especially, seeing that we have Saber Alter getting a dummy nutty broken buff, and then we also know that Karna's coming up on his buff, and I think it's actually going to be tonight that he gets his. But in regards to that, I mean, it's nice, right? It's just nice. I like it when characters in this game are usable. Hot take, I know. I want to use the characters that I have summoned. They're usable. You want to use your different characters, because there's also some times that you just get tired of using the same character over and over and over again. So it's nice to give you a little bit of diversity, right? So with that being said, let me know what you guys think of this buff in the comment section down below. I'm sure there will be somebody that is Bradamante's biggest defender. I can't understand why they would be Brad's biggest defender. It would certainly have nothing to do with the NP, I'm sure. But let me know, the one guy that's like, I have my NP5 Grail 120, 10, 10, 10, fully append maxed out Bradamante ready for this day. I'm sure that guy could pop up in the comment section down below. Also, leave a like on the video, subscribe. As I said, we are currently doing wedding planning, so we are kind of bouncing all over the place. So I am trying my best to make sure that I still get these videos out. I'm still going to also try to stream tomorrow because I believe that is when Saber comes out on Star Rail, and I'm sitting on like 20,000 gemmies. So, I mean, whole reason I even got back into that game was for Saber. So if I don't get her over there, I'm not saying I'm going to crash out, but I'm going to crash. I'm going to be pretty upset. So y'all can join me for that if that is something that you would be interested in. And then, again, over the next couple of days, we'll be covering some other buffs that are coming out for the anniversary. And then, obviously, I believe next week we have the summer characters coming out. So a whole lot of hoopla coming into the game. So gotta make sure I try to stay on top of it. Gotta balance the FGO life and also gotta balance the real life stuff. Look, take this as a lesson for yourself. The life is all about balance. You gotta find some way to schedule, get a planner. Really, really helpful. With that being said, I'm gonna stop yapping here. You guys have yourselves a nice rest of your day, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye!